Welcome to Visibility by Design podcast with your host, Juliette Stapleton. In this show, I want to help you combine your marketing strategies and your human design potential so you can show up, stand out, and attract your perfect clients with confidence and ease. Are you ready? Enjoy the show. Hi guys, welcome back to Visibility by Design. I have an awesome guest for you today. Let me introduce you to Anita Keen. Anita is a prosperity coach. She's also a 5-1 emotional projector, and we're going to talk a lot about this 5-1 energy today. But before we begin, maybe I'll just ask Anita to sort of talk a little bit about herself. One thing I'm very excited, you're the first person with the Irish accent on my podcast. And I spent 2 decades of my life living in Ireland. And I'm kind of like very excited. Now I'm not there, and I didn't want to be there, but now I'm so excited to have an Irish speaking guest. So, or a guest with an Irish accent. So Anita, welcome to the show. I want to start maybe with you telling us, how did you come to human design and what's your story with it?
Oh yeah, thank you. And thank you for having me. This is great. My journey to human design was really simple. I had started my career in biomedical science and spent 20 years in that. And then went into, when I had hit my node change, my whole life flipped, right? I went from biomedical science into an absolute draw to angel healing and teaching. And moving country, the kids moved schools. My whole life changed at that time. But what I found was I couldn't run a business the same way that I had learned to work in the hospital. So I couldn't use that emergency 24/7 application. I just ended up burning out. It was weird because I'm a 5th line profile, so I'm not afraid of hard work. But when I applied the old strategies to my new business, I just really found myself exhausted. And I started realizing that as I studied different business strategies and business styles and business models, I was there, oh my God, what's wrong with me? Am I stupid? Like, I can't get these. They just don't work for me. So in about 2014, which was maybe 5 years after I started into biomedical or into angel healing and teaching and energy work and trained in psychotherapy and all those different things, I discovered human design. And I was there, oh my goodness. My first reading was by Shaitan Parkin. And he literally, I felt like I had been seen and recognized for the first time in my life. I was there, how can you get me like this? How can you get me? You don't even know me. You've never met me. How does this work? I have to know. So that was it. That was the start. And I started training. I trained with Shaitan and Karen and some with the American Human Design. And being of one line, studied everything. And then it started to emerge my natural business style. The more I learned about my own energetic needs, my success mindset, my emotional energy, the more I started realizing, oh, well, I can pick the pieces from the different business strategies that I like, that resonate with me, and actually apply them to my own business. And that's when everything changed. It was amazing.
I love your story because it really demonstrates so many personal stories of so many people who come to, say, running their own business from being an employee somewhere, and they start using the same principles as being employee in your own business, which comes with its own, I call them cockroaches in your head, and or trying to use that industry's marketing strategies or even, business acumen in your own business where it's completely different. And that's why I'm saying traditional marketing doesn't work. It works for very specific industries, and you have to be so careful when you're listening to something. Even just recently with my clients, we had this discussion about, the client is always right. That doesn't apply to every industry. I don't want to have a client that's always right, because, that could be a nightmare client that will destroy my life. And so this whole story of, getting burnt out, really struggling, and then starting to pick on yourself and say something's wrong with me.
Oh, totally. Because I'm the projector, 5-1, fifth line profile. So the projector needs acknowledgement, and the fifth line energy has a mirror aura. So I'm not seen to be acknowledged. I can tell you it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare when I was trying to apply myself to current social relationship values, right? I was there kind of going, what is wrong with me? And that's where you go, as women in particular, that's where we go. What am I missing? I'm really good in other places. I'm a super achiever in many ways with that fifth line. But I was never feeling fulfilled because it was never the result that I expected or that I thought I should get, that I was told I should get. It was incredible. It's incredible to see how exactly right you are. That, and the customer being always right. What's the point of hiring someone if you know what you want, if you know it already? So there's a place where the expertise and the client can complement each other beautifully to get the job done. It's actually one of my bugaboos, Juliette, when someone shows up and either aren't stepping into their expertise, and they're kind of there, well, I'll do whatever you want. And I kind of say, but I'm hiring you for your expertise. I wouldn't be hiring you if I knew this. So I need your guidance, right? This is what I want to achieve. Now tell me how I can get there, as opposed to the person who's just super controlling, of course, which is the other side. I'll tell you what to do and take it or leave it,
Yeah, that's true as well. That's true as well. Just before we move on, maybe it's a good place now. I know that there's a lot of wonderful entrepreneurs in this audience that are 5-1s, or they have 5 line maybe somewhere else, and maybe they don't know enough. So when you're talking about like this is a mirror, maybe we should just introduce them to this line a little bit. You're the perfect person.
Yeah, absolutely. Here's my experience of the 5-1, okay? What I find is that people see themselves in me. They see themselves in my mirror aura, right? Like, this is kind of a little bit tricky to explain. They see themselves in my mirror, they never see me. And so they're projecting on me who they think I am, but it's actually a reflection of who they are. So it gets really tricky in a relationship with someone who sees you through their eyes rather than as you are. And then as a fifth line, when I was trying to be myself, I said, who the frick am I? Who the frick am I? Do I believe these people? Because we learned to outsource, right? We learned to outsource our learning. We went to school, and how clever we were was determined by our grades. How good we were was determined by how we pleased people. So when people projected on me and it felt so wrong for me, I was there going, oh my God, but that's not who I am. Is that who you really see in me? And yet I had no evidence to know who I really was. Do you know that? No outside evidence. So I had no reference to look for. All my family were 6'2s, all of them. So, my way, no way, I'm the role model, and you do it, why don't you just do it our way, Anita? And I'm kind of there, it just doesn't work for me. It just didn't work for me, right? It was like they were marathon runners. I was the sprinter. So I would be, if I'm in for short periods of time. It's quick, it's to the point, it's done, and then I rest. Whereas they'll go and go and go and go and go, right? But with the fifth line in my family, it was very much, oh, why don't you do it this way? You should do it this way. Why aren't you doing it that way? And I'm kind of thinking, you should have said it differently. I'm kind of there, well, this is how I say it. Is that not okay? And so I grew up kind of always feeling, and of course, always blamed, because the other person has usually done the thing, feeling guilty, and they project it on me. So if I don't know better and I take the blame, that's where the fifth line gets into misery. That's where it can be really hard on fifth line profiles, because we're so capable. We're often given responsibility way too early in our life, and we take it because we are so capable. We can do anything pretty much. And But then it's learning the balance between, well, what's in it for me? Yeah, I'm really capable. I get that. But how do I achieve a win-win in a relationship or in a work situation if I don't understand my needs? And every time I do express my need, I'm made wrong. So it was an incredible process of learning to stand on my own 2 feet and learning that I had to do it my way and having the courage to carry that out and not listen to others. I found there was one time where I decided, I was working in Waterford. I decided to leave my job. I was part-time and go back to college and do my diploma. And my boss was saying, look, don't go, I'll give you a year's work. And I said, no, I knew inside this was something I had to do. And with that 5th line and individual circuitry, I found that when I know I need to do something, regardless of what anybody says, I have to do it. Otherwise, I'll regret it. So I went to college, did my thing, and 2 years later, when permanent jobs came up, I was the first candidate for the job. Because sometimes we don't, as the 5th line, see why we need to do something. But when we look back, it becomes very much more relevant, So that 5th line, we get projected on all the time. You might find you're blamed all the time for things. I used to always get into trouble at home. I mean, there's 5 kids, right? If there was 5 kids and if there was anything went down, I would be the one who got the blame. And I was there, why me? It was funny now. It's funny now, but it was really miserable for quite some time trying to fit in. I never really felt I fit. I felt like I say it to people, I'm like a muggle. I'm like a muggle, or maybe a wizard in the land of muggles. I'm not sure which.
I can so resonate with a couple of things. One thing, when you mentioned that all people in your family are 6'2", and we were just discussing before we started recording how everyone in my family is 3'5". And so living in the world, being that wizard in the world of muggles, literally in both of our situations, it's a really strange experience. And I think that in a way, that's where I'm really grateful for discovering human design, because that's the only place where I found the answers to why there was such a difference between, my husband and my daughter, both 3'5". They can talk for hours, about loads of things, and they listen to each other. They can't do that with me. I'm only interested in what I'm interested in. Yeah. And I'm a 1-3, right? So now I stopped feeling bad about it. It's just, that's what I am. And so that, but I can see how, even my mom, I know one of the big traumatic things in my life was my mom telling me that I am selfish and I don't want to listen to her, while she had to listen to me for hours when I talk. And I was carrying this for a whole decade, probably. So human design is definitely, and it's saving my marriage. Now, the second thing as well is the blaming and everything. And I always say my poor husband, because I do a lot of projections here. And human design is what helps me understand logically that actually this is what I'm doing, that this is why. And maybe in a way, I don't see a solution to this, because it's just a natural energy with living with a line 5 person, that you are going to project certain things and with blames and things like that. And so it's very, very fascinating. I'm still trying to find the way, that it's going to heal rather than destroy. And that's one of my motivations about learning about line 5 a lot.
Yeah, that's fantastic. I love that, because with the 5th line in a relationship, very often as a 5th line myself, when I see something in the other that bugs me, usually it's mine. And the quicker I own it, the quicker it dissolves. And what I found with the relationships, it's not about fixing, it's about discerning or agreeing strategies that help you manage the energy, because that's who you are. So the more you manage and respect and honor each other's energy, the easier it is to recognize, okay, I'm blaming you again. And the other person to know, yeah, and I know it's not me, what's up? It's really fun, because myself and my husband is the same, and it did save our marriage also, where he had a channel 4323, which the nodes are in right now, I had the 23. So we would always, if you'll excuse the expression, piss ourselves off. He had the full channel, his mind, he spoke his mind, his idea was the best idea, right? Mine was halfway through. So I was kind of there, well, why aren't you listening to me? Why don't you listen to me? And when I saw this in human design, I was there, oh, this is curious. Let me play with this and see how I can manage a strategy. For him, he found he had to be careful with that full channel, that he considered the other people's opinions, that he wasn't just single-minded. Yes, quite possibly he was correct in what he was thinking, but because it's that channel, it's an insight. So it's usually 10 light years away from what everyone else is thinking. So he needs to move from XYZ, where he knows he is, to the ABC, who he's talking to. For me, I used to have to say to him, oh yeah, that's a great idea for you.
I love that. Those little things you add.
Exactly. And that kind of changed everything. So with me, with the fifth line, I do find sometimes if the his projection matches a wound that I have already, that I haven't resolved, I get involved. Other times, and there's a conflict, right? There's an argument. Other times I recognize, oh, he's actually reflecting, he's actually projecting his energy. But now as a projector and as a fifth line, say if this was a client, you can see, oh, I see exactly where to go with this person. I'll ask them this question. And you ask them that question, and the next thing they're kind of going, I remember one client standing up and looking in the mirror and going, is this written on my forehead? because when you use that mirror correctly, when you can stay emotionally independent, detached, it really helps to see what's going on for the other person and honor your own needs as well. But knowing human design is what made that possible for me. I wouldn't have had a clue otherwise. I'd been sitting there going, oh my God, I have to channel someone. I can't do this. It's amazing.
It sounds to me that the line 5 is you really, really need to understand emotional intelligence with that line. Would you agree with me? And because sometimes, I just see that in everyone in my family, that there could be a little dial up with the emotional intelligence, that it would make it easy on them. Absolutely. It's not even my own thing, like what you're explaining, this clarity, this just separating yourself from the situations or from the energies of the other, so you can have a clear vision then, and especially as a projector, then you can really see. Yes. And that's your big gift as well that we have as projectors. I have a couple of questions as well that they kind of bug me, and maybe you can just reflect with your own story. Or one of the things about line 5 that I'm seeing as well, and I'm investigating, and it's about this inner vulnerability and closing down, and sort of yesterday I think I just read, it's the line that sometimes they can have absolutely no intimacy, like they just don't allow it. Mm-hmm. What's your experience with that? Would that be somehow true?
That is absolutely true. The way I look at it with energy, because I worked in a lab and learned about how to measure energy from a science perspective, but now also from a human perspective, is that energy isn't a bipolar thing. It's a scale. You have no energy all the way up to too much energy. And then the balance is somewhere in the middle. And if you look at the normal distribution chart, the somewhere in the middle is us in balance. So what can happen with the fifth line is that, this is my experience now, right, is that the current, let's put it this way, yes, emotional intelligence is really important, but I don't think we understand emotional intelligence yet, I'll be honest. I think that is about to emerge, how we're really designed to use emotional intelligence. The second thing is, the fifth line is actually genuinely designed to get things done by being super practical and super capable of getting a job done and staying in the facts and not getting involved in the emotion. So they really are like natural scientists, I guess, in one way. Now, you can see how that might come across as cold. Their detachment from a situation can allow them to see exactly what needs to be done, right? But in a relationship, that detachment can feel very hurtful for the other person, because the other person is projecting their need to the fifth line. Yeah. And the fifth line is there. I don't know how many times I've been called cold. My client not my client, but my family in particular, right? They're in the middle of a drama. They're open solar plexus. So they can be potentially the drama queens, right? And they're in the middle of the drama. And I'm kind of there, okay, let's just see what's really going on here. Let's sort this out, right? And then, because I'm not jumping into the drama with them, I'm cold. You're cold, you're so distant. What are you doing? You're not getting engaged. And I'm kind of there, well, it's like this. If you're a fireman, and fifth line is naturally designed to help, to fix, to provide practical solutions. If you're a fireman, you don't jump into the fire. And when you're working with people, the emotional drama and the conflict is their fire. So if you're jumping in, well, you're stuck in the shit with them now, if you'll excuse the expression. You're stuck in it with them. You can't help them. And that's how we become invisible. They don't see us because we're in it with them. And it is one of the big challenges of the fifth line, is learning that balance. What's the difference between emotional connection and actual compassion? To me, compassion is, I've been there, done that. I know this pain. I can really identify with you without jumping into your drama. The emotional connection is what creates the drama. People say, I need to be emotionally connected. And I'm there, no, you don't. That's what's creating all the problems. Emotions are, in my perspective, or what I've learned, are you can do just as crazy things when you're in love and excited as you do when you're angry and in fear. It's just a different crazy. And, I'll do anything for him. And I'm kind of there, really? Really? Are you serious? So emotion energy tells us that we are feeling this feeling. Our thought is generating this feeling physiologically in our body. We need to connect it back into our decision strategy before we can determine the truth of it or not. Because emotion doesn't necessarily make stuff true. We can sit on the couch, we can be worrying about something not happening or happening. And the brain naturally is responding to the thought. And that generates the emotions in our body physiologically, right? So, but there's nothing in front of us. So we can be sitting on the couch worrying about something, burning out. The body doesn't know the difference. So our emotion isn't necessarily an indicator of truth. It's more an indicator of that we've disconnected and we need to reconnect to make sure that this is true. Because I don't know, are you emotional projector?
No, I have an undefined. I actually think I have a completely open emotional. My heart and my emotional centers are completely open. That's what it is. Completely white. And I am normally a flatliner, but as you were talking, I realized that I have a channel of logic defined. So 63-4, which can get very toxic. So I can be sitting on this couch and thinking all these what if scenarios that are completely not true, and getting emotionally connected to them, and I don't even know where it's coming from, and so for what you just said, for me it was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. Just connect with your emotions, see if it's true, because that's what I was subconsciously doing to get out of this trap of that channel of logic. Can be really, it's good, but it can be really bad if you allowed it to.
Totally. I have the 64 47, so I have a different interpretation of that, but exactly, because people say, oh, I'm thinking this way and I feel this way, it must be true, and I'm kind of there, no, get back in balance. Emotions to me is it's like the clouds in the sky. They block the sun, you can't see it. It doesn't mean it's not there. And when I refer to the sun, I mean your inner GPS, your inner decision strategy, your inner way of making decisions. It blocks it, it clouds it. And so you can't get clear until you're emotionally neutral. And that's the beauty with the defined emotion, which I have. I can't make a decision until I'm emotionally neutral. So with the open emotion with my husband, who is open emotion, it works really well because I can ask him and ask his sacral. We have these ways, and I would say he's a manifesting generator. So I would say, what are you getting for that? Can you tune into me and see what I'm actually getting? Because I'm too emotionally stuck in this mess, right? And that could be for business. That could be, that wobble when we move, when we're changing, up leveling in our business. We all have that wobble. Leaving the comfort zone creates a wobble. Setting a goal creates a wobble, right?
That's right.
It's learning how to step into that and work the emotion. So to me, it's like the same with emotion. It's the same with the mindset. Success mindset is very different to positive thinking. Knowing how your mind works and how you process information can be natural indicators to you when you're in balance, when you're not in balance. And when you're aware, you can adjust. Whereas when you're in the emotional energy, anything goes. And this is where, as a defined emotion, I will jump into something emotionally, and 2 weeks later kind of go, oh my God, what was I thinking? What am I doing this for again? Anyway.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, this was such a brilliant description of how emotional definition works, which I don't have. So for me, it's fascinating.
Yeah. Yeah.
One thing you said, and it was just before we went into the actual emotional decision making and being emotionally defined. You said the word fireman, and I have another question. It's back to line 5 with this whole. So a fire is something that is immediate. So if we say that line 5 is brilliant fireman, but it's all about what needs to be fixed now. The fire needs to be put up now, not in 5 days, not in 6 days. So there is, what I'm observing is that there is such a big difference between people with, say, line 6, who are all looking forward and it's all, this long-term vision. But the 5 lines in my world, they're very short sort of sighted. It's like right now, not thinking about tomorrow sometimes. And it used to really, really drive me nuts because, you can't just do things now like duct tape solutions. You have to think a little bit bigger. But would you say, I feel like it comes from line 5. Would you agree with me or would you argue me?
That's a really interesting concept. So what you're saying is that we're short thinking. Not
short thinking, but it's sort of like, let's fix this now.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's so focused on fixing this now, what needs to be fixed, that something that this might cause in the future to break is not considered. That's what I mean.
Oh yeah, that's very interesting. Being a projector, I might have a different take on that, because the projector always, to me, sees the quickest, easiest solution. But fixing is definitely the 5th line kryptonite. What to fix, when, and with who. Kryptonite, right?
I love it.
There's such a balance between, we're natural fixers. We're compelled to fix. We're compelled to fix others and to, provide solutions. But in our current socioeconomic relationship model, that can be very intrusive. And it can be very short-sighted, as you say. So as a 5th line, what I have learned is, yeah, it's very true what you say. It's very true. We can be short-sighted. And what I find is, my perspective is kind of like, instead of getting into the problem, which is very easy to do here in America, I'm based in Boston, right? Very much problem solvers, firefighters, let's do it now. People wait until they get the punch in the nose before they take action. It's very much in the moment. What I find is that it's important to stay out of the problem mindset, because when we are in, the problem to fix, my problem client, what happens is the universe just sends us a lot of problems to fix, and it can keep it in the now rather than being futuristic or considering the big goal and what I need to do right now. So my lesson has been to move out of the problem solving into solution finding. And that's what opens us up. What needs to happen for us to realize the goal? moving forward in a way that opens up to the win-win. Because with that fifth line, our potential is, because we're actually really powerful, or again, our current definition of what power is, isn't the power I'm talking about. We're very powerful. When something goes off balance for us, it's usually a control struggle. It's a control with the other person, with our boss, but really what's happening is we're not stepping into our power and owning it. And part of that, so I've gone off topic a little bit, but so back to solution finding. I like to focus as a fifth line on solutions. It helps me stay out of the kryptonite of fixing everything. Otherwise, we'll drive our family and friends crazy. Have you noticed? I don't know, do you notice? But we drive our family and friends crazy because we actually need to fix things. That's our job. That's why we're here. So having loads of clients is a great idea for a fifth line.
This is actually so funny. It's true. Having like putting that energy into work and having these people who are looking for solutions, that you don't actually just focus on someone who is beside you all the time. It's true. It can be tough. I have some comical relationships with my husband. I could be sitting there and something like ice cream came into my mind. Like literally, we had this situation yesterday, and I saw an ice cream or on the telly or something, and I was like, yeah, ice cream. I don't eat ice cream because I'm lactose intolerant these days. Yeah. So, and he just came from the shop, and so he turns around with this fear on his face, and because he didn't buy me ice cream, he couldn't predict and fix and give the solution of me wanting ice cream. And he's always trying to, make sure that, like, if there's a problem, my problem of wanting ice cream, there is an ice cream. I'm afraid sometimes to mention things hypothetically because they're going to happen. And I find that this comes from the fifth line of like, okay, let's fix this. She needs something. We need to do this for her. So yeah, that can happen. Let's bring this conversation into marketing, because this is a visibility by design, and I think that everything that you spoke about today is so valuable. Marketing doesn't exist on its own. Marketing is really our self-expression online, right, with an intention to maybe attract clients, but it's all about personal power in a way, and how and the voice that we're allowing ourselves to find. With 5-1, unfortunately, I have heard some experts saying 5-1 is the most difficult profile to market itself. Would you agree with that?
I would. I found it very difficult myself, but that was the combination of being a projector and a 5-1. So that's a double projection there I'm putting out there, or a double projection I'm taking back as to how I should or could do it. Yeah, it is difficult for the fifth line because of the mirror, and learning how to work that has been the biggest challenge for me. And this is where human design really came into play, because I was able to learn what I'm here to speak about. I learned what my soul wanted, how I'm designed to express myself. For me, a lot of my conscious sun is gate 14, which is prosperity. And Karen Curry said to me about 3 or 4 years ago, Anita, if anybody can talk about money, you can. And I was coming from my grand old Irish scarcity values, right? And I was there, absolutely no way, absolutely no way. So sometimes what we're here to learn about is the biggest struggle we have. The thing that we're supposed to share is the biggest struggle we have in our lives. So for marketing as the fifth line, I literally had to step into my design. I know this sounds weird. It wasn't about interviewing my client and what was wrong. It wasn't about asking them what their problems were. For the fifth line, we have to be very much our own entity. So what I find is, with my conscious sun, that is my marketing gate, that's how all my energies are expressed. When I said, my problems would be anxiety over money, compromising my works, reducing the passion to make money because I'd be afraid I wouldn't be supported in my manifesting. But in reality, when I trusted the universe and trusted my manifesting, that's when I created wealth for myself in many different areas. So with the marketing, I learned that when I say what my issues will be in relation to that gate 14, I market that. and trust the magnetism of the fifth line and the charisma of the fifth line to bring clients to me. So I will say prosperity. I will say, is anxiety about money causing you to compromise your work and not allow your passion to shine through? So I pose what I experience as a problem in my fifth line design as a question. And that is my ability to own the mirror now. I'm now owning who I am. And I learned this in a really weird way. I remember being down in Kerry with my sister's kids and my kids. I brought them to the beach and we'd come home after a long, amazing day of fun and hijinks. And all the kids just jumped out of the car and ran off. And I was sitting there going, oh my God, where's the gratitude? Where's the thanks? Oh my God, cheekers, the cheek of them, right? Because I had them trained. You take out your towels, you rinse out your togs, you put them on the line, you do all this. I was sitting in the car and I was like, hang on a second. I am really grateful for actually creating this for the kids today. This was something that I wanted to do. This was a situation I wanted to set up. And, I'm really grateful to myself for doing this. Within seconds, all 4 kids came out. Thanks a million, Mom. Thanks a million, Auntie Anita. And something twigged in me there that I have to do it my way and then invite others to join me. Does that make sense?
Absolutely, absolutely. So instead of expecting something from them and then getting bitter about, or whatever, the feeling is that you're not getting that energy, in your case, it was gratitude or anything, you're like blocking your manifestation. Exactly. And yet turning it and say, what about me? Am I grateful? Yes. And then it opens up. And it's amazing how when we flip the script, how manifestation of the actual energy that we want comes in. And this was just such a great example.
Brilliant. Flip the script. That's exactly what I had to do. I literally had to go a 180 from what I learned. I literally had to go the complete opposite of what I learned. Make it about me. And I know that sounds selfish, but there's nothing selfish about it if that's my strategy. But can't you see the issue that the fifth line might have when they're wired to help people and it has to be what they want to do? It's so contrary to the social economics, if that makes sense. I know that sounds weird because helping others, the fireman, I'll give my life for you, is bullshit. Excuse my language. Oh, sorry, you can edit that out.
I'm not editing anything out.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
It is what it is, exactly. There's that place where I put someone else first. It doesn't work for the fifth line. And that's what sets the fifth line out of balance in the control struggles. I do what I want first, and now I set up for the win-win. And that's where the fifth line really comes into its power in marketing, in business, and really owning your expertise. And I don't think I can say it any more simply, can I? Owning your expertise.
Yes, I am literally bouncing off you with, I'm with a lot of, content strategies that come to my mind. Basically, what I'm hearing here is that if you're a fifth line, you can't go by the not traditional, but say popular coaching industry discourse when you say, find their pain points, see what they need, what is their need, and you're going to give them that. You kind of need to flip it around and see what is something that you want to help them with. Is that am I now saying the same thing that you were saying? Because, it's in so many ways. When we're listening to these popular strategies, there's a lot of discourse and there's a lot of just things people say. I'm 2 decades in this marketing business. I'm so tired of it because there's just so many things that people just say, but they're not true, or not true for most people. And definitely, where human design comes very handy is that you can be really in power when you're saying, okay, this doesn't work for me. I need to put myself first. And it kind of feels to me like everybody needs to put themselves first, not just
totally. I agree.
Yeah, it's the same in my own journey as a 1-3. I have to really put myself first and say, it's not about their pain points, it's about my insights. In your case, it's not about their pain points, it's about the solutions that you so passionately you can give, and that just fuels immediately what you can say. So becoming selfish, let's call it like that in a way, maybe it's just for illustration purposes. It's just not going to make anybody selfish, but just becoming selfish about what you want, it's going to fuel the voice, your brand voice, with that magnetic power.
Totally. That's it. What is magnetism? What is charisma? Except when we speak from our soul, when we speak from experience. It's easy to rattle off information. As opposed to speak from experience. And that's what's charismatic. And you see it, even playing a musical instrument. I remember when I was 4, I learned the violin, right? I would bash out Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star, no problem. But, it just sounds tinny. But when someone sings or plays an instrument in a way that they're fully engaged, that's what's charismatic. That's what puts the hairs up on the back of your neck. And that's what people get. They're kind of there, oh my God, you're talking to my soul. I am talking to your soul because I'm talking from my soul. And that's where human design really helps us magnetize our message, is speaking from our essence, if that makes sense.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. And what comes to mind to me, and I just saw yesterday Karen Parker shared a video about citation. You maybe saw that about somebody stealing work and not giving enough citation. I thought that it was, for me, a big problem, because I never remember the names of, I remember what they said, but I don't remember what the name was. But in general, I'm just going to paraphrase somebody's poem and say, what's the point of shrinking yourself to please others? What's the point of dimming your own light in order to, I don't know, not to annoy somebody? And I think that this is what a lot of people generally are doing, and I see that in 5-1s often. And it's sort of like, don't dim your light, don't try and preempt what these other people doing. You're the leader, you're leading them.
It really, and it's an interesting concept, because it is a reversal of what everybody else is doing, so it takes guts, right? But you're right, and that's the beauty of human design for me. It's, as a 5th line, it's recognizing it stops me wishing to be something else. I embrace who I am. And not only is it so much more fun for me to do that, but it's so much, again, it's magnetism, it's magnetic. So people kind of, and of course the 5th line is a karmic connection, right? So a lot of my connection, I work with a lot of 5-1s. I work with a lot of 4th, 5th and 6th lines, because that relationship codependent or emotional dependent relationship model doesn't work for the 4th, 5th and 6th line, because they need to understand the power of win-win, holding your space in your marketing, with your client, in your relationships, to be healthy, And I think 5th line, we're going to teach people how to do that in the future. I think we're future emotional and energy marketing and relationship teachers, because the emotion really messes everything up. Anyway,
it's really beautiful. I literally thought, okay, this is the perfect ending, but I'm not ready to let you go yet. That's my dilemma. because when we're talking about marketing and the content and putting yourself first, sometimes a lot of people, this is the basics, and I just felt so compelled to say this out loud. People expect, or our brain, let's say our mind expects, that it's going to be an A to B journey, that you're just going to be selfish and that's where you're going to stay. But in my experience, it doesn't work that way. It's a constant spiraling, or zigzagging between the two, and it's about awareness that this is where your best frequency is. This is where your gift is. So, and I don't really like using these words because they're, they're too human design jinkies related, but really, this is where you operate your best. When you are stepping into that position of a leader, when you're not worrying about what they need to hear, you know what to tell them. Just channel this. You already know, it's inside you, and if you are passionate about something, you're a master of this, you have this confidence that you can help. And what I see especially with 5-1s, then sometimes it's this playing small and not allowing this power, not allowing this brand to really soar. And
totally.
Yeah.
But I think that comes, and that's a wound for the 5th line. I think it comes from when we're younger and we're so different to everybody else. We actually become a reflection of what someone else says rather than who we are. And so when we do express our what we want, or our soul, or our hearts, or our needs, we probably have been slapped down in the past and told, what do you want that for? Don't be silly. You want what we want. And so that hurt. I call it almost a goal trauma, a trauma being defining a trauma as something that dents our confidence. So when we're not acknowledged and allowed to express ourselves as a 5th line, we find it hard then to put our heart and soul into what we're doing next. We've learned to be a reflection of them, which is way smaller than who we are. It's like they've recognized our power, that we can help, and then give us the type of responsibility that swamps us instead of grows us. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it is a big issue for the 5th line. I know myself, but it's part of my design as well. I am more I'm not a consistent marketer. I don't post every single day. What I do is I'll have a time where I create the content and I hand it over. Because I hand it over for someone to pull it into posts and pull it into, because if I don't do that, I can start getting hard on myself. That's part of the 5th line. Because we haven't been ourselves or stepped into the power, and when I say power, I mean grounded, connected, present, in what we want. And whether we like it or not, acknowledgement is a human need. So to have the right person to say, yeah, go for it, instead of, are you crazy? What are you doing that for? It's so different to what everybody else is doing. You can imagine, right? So do you believe that, are you crazy? Or do you step into your power and your knowing and do that for yourself? But it's I would say it's part of my journey has been moving from that victim, that it is not to step into your power, into, and everything that entails, into kind of just going, heck it, as for the Irish expression, I'm doing it my way without apology. Now that's the journey as a coach. That's the journey for your 5th lines, is bring them from where they're playing small and tap into the wounds of hurt that are holding, that what I would have said, that are holding us. So you have 2 sides. You have hurt in the past and afraid to put yourself out there, so you don't. Or super achievers, unfulfilled super achievers who are go because they recognize their power, but they haven't quite connected it yet. And then wonder why they're not there yet. And so both sides are unfulfilling, and they balance when you step into the middle and balance. Hang on, it's like being the victim or being the super achiever, or like or what do you call them on the bike? Those little 2 extra wheels on the bike to hold you stabilized.
Stabilizers.
Stabilizers. Yeah, stabilizers, right? When I'm getting too much of a super achiever, I kind of go, hang on a second, I need to pull back. Let's get back into balance, into what I need. Or if I'm getting victimy, I kind of go, okay, hang on a second. When I'm in this place, I'm not in my power. I need to just boost that a little bit. Call a friend who'll say, hey, Anita, you're amazing. And, whatever, So So it is. That is the journey of the fifth line, to balance that power within. And you'll see it in your relationships, because people will come to you and they come to you to learn what they need, which is exactly what we're here to teach. Yeah, this is what you need. They're not pulling out of us, looking for us to do it for them. They're actually realizing, and I say that in my marketing, don't come to me unless you want this for you. Because you have to want it for you, right? It's like any business. If you're not doing it for you and to help people, but doing it because you love it, because that's where we start.
I love this. You mentioned so many things that are literally, this is when I say I'm so tired of this marketing, things. It's like, not admitting that you're doing it for yourself, and being a bit guilty that you're not consistent in your marketing. You don't have to be consistent. Projectors can't be consistent. We work in bursts. There is no way. There is no way.
Totally. Yeah. I describe it to people because I have I've only 2 centers open, the spleen and the sacral. And I say to people, look, I'm the sprinter, you're the marathon runner, go for it. It's a different lane. It's a different, but we're different kind of marketers. And understanding what consistency is for you and defining it for you is what puts all the doubts at bay. And that's the biggest crux, kryptonite for marketing, isn't it? Will I say this? Yeah. Will I say this? What, am I putting out enough? Am I not putting out enough? Because the truth is, the market and marketing market is completely up the walls at the moment. It's completely in flux. It's going through a huge change. I would say it was 2010, which is interesting. 2010, it really kind of flipped into internet marketing. We're back into Jupiter, coming back into Aries. 12 years later, 2010 was the last time that happened. So more into developing our marketing our way. Let's just notice that's how interesting that is. So for us to know where we stand, design-wise, how we're designed to market, means that we can play what's going on in the market instead of being a victim to it. Can you imagine? I mean, one of my clients said a couple of weeks ago, oh my God, I put out the post and it was devastating. It was a 3-5. It was devastating. I got no response, no reply. And I was there, oh my God, you put out one post and you didn't get a reply. Oh my goodness. That's so unusual. I'm joking, right? Of course it's not unusual, but I was there. But that's why marketing needs to be, you want to share your message. Because you can't control them out there. You can only control you. And when you're comfortable in what you're expressing and how you want to express it, now you can play that market, and that emotional attachment isn't in play. Your expertise is. How cool is that? And she was there going, she kind of said, oh my God, of course. Why would I be valuing myself by what they think? I said, of course you would. That's how the fifth line grew up. We valued ourselves by how they thought instead of by who we are. And that's the 180.
This is so interesting. And this is a message to anyone with line 5 in their profiles. People don't look at likes and comments, because lurkers are those who want to invest, right? People who comment and engage with you, they don't necessarily have an intention to buy from you. And I know that because that's how I behave online. I will engage with people I'm not really planning to, invest with or hire. I will engage very openly because I don't have this any, fear of being visible on their content, just in case they will push me into a decision that I need to make myself. But when I'm really interested in someone, I will silently follow them, right? But good news here is that when somebody's reading your long post or watching your videos, Facebook considers this as engagement, same Instagram. And so these things that you maybe don't stroke your ego, they're still considered as engagement. So these people are still seeing your stuff. And this is why you cannot focus on likes and comments on your post, or even put all hopes into the post. Anita, I think that we forgot to talk about something very important. It's the second line in your profile. So just to round up, maybe very quickly, I think that it's important to say 5-1. There is one as well that adds to that whole angle of how you're expressing yourself as an expert.
Oh, yeah, that's really true. You have the one line, so you know exactly what, right? I experience it in the unconscious. So I actually need my information. I need not only, when I say information, not just facts or, outside facts, I need the information from my body that says, yes, this is a go. So, and I need that to feel safe to put myself out there at all. So with the fifth line, with the first line, I'm a trained in several energy modalities. So I'm a psychotherapist trained. I'll never be a psychotherapist. I talk too much, but I trained in it anyway. Coached in a number of different ways, and with human design on top of it. I'm feng shui trained. And so, but that one is, it keeps me curious, and it keeps me inquisitive as to, okay, while solutions are one thing, they have to connect to reality, and that's what I love about the first line. It keeps me making sure that my facts are tried and tested and proven before I actually put them out at all. That would be how I would express the first line. But I need that informational basis. So if I'm doing something, I won't bring it to my clients until I've tried it and tested it myself. Isn't that interesting? I just won't, because with the fifth line, we're so used to getting blamed in the wrong that you need to really be really clear about what you're putting out there, or you worry. I worry. I will doubt myself. Will I be able to deliver if I don't have the practical information? Does that make sense to you?
Oh, absolutely, because I'm a 1-3. So 3 is the one that does the testing and living through it and experiencing on your own skin. Otherwise, you don't know. But line 1, I love it, actually. I fell in love with it when I realized this fear motivation, this whole thing about, I just need to understand the core, not the fluff, not things that just like add to it. This is why I'm saying I'm tired of marketing industry, because of this. This brain just says, okay, this is the core. Everything else doesn't matter. This is the core. And when I have the core, I have the confidence. And I think what you just said, when you have the core foundational understanding of something, then you can find a solution. It connects. It feels like, okay, I understand this. This is what, I'm really, really confident in it. And adding that, what I see as well with 5-1s, when they express themselves, there could be like, somebody could be really into research. And I think that leaning into that, it's very, very good and true in your content.
That's a great point. And this is a huge tip for me to other 5-1s with that first line. The information is for me. My superpower with that fifth line is to be able to pluck what's relevant and bring it to my client. I used to be able to do a book review in half an hour because I would literally intuitively choose what I needed, write it down, that's it. And it was so fun to watch. So as the fifth line, what can happen is, because we've been so outside driven, we're inclined to say, oh, I've gone and trained with this person and I love this bit and this bit and this bit, but I don't really, the rest of it doesn't resonate with me. Do I have the courage to take those pieces and run with it? And I will say, have the courage. That's how we work. That's how we work. We pluck the nuggets. Like when I worked in corporate, I would say, these are 5 simple tools. I love yoga and I love meditation, but they're not practical business tools. They distract you. You need to have something that can reset your energy in the moment. So here, here, here. And if you want to learn about it, go off somewhere else. But the one is my safety. And when I'm delivering to my client, my daughter actually is a 1-4. And I give her my work sometimes to edit. And I, as the fifth one, as the 5-1, a little bit insecure, I will have 2 pages for my marketing. And she'll cut it down to a paragraph. And I'd be there having palpitations because, oh my God, no, they need to know all this stuff. And she's there, absolutely not, Mom. This is what you need to say. And it's so funny. She's always right. Like, so with that first line, we need to be aware that the information is for us. What we deliver is the experience, And I think, what's coming to me, Juliette, is maybe it's time for you to create your own marketing style or your own marketing strategy, because It's bugging you for a reason. And it's 11:11 a.m. here now. So it's bugging you for a reason to create that for yourself, because I don't know about you, but I would love, and I would love to refer you to people who have a marketer and a marketing mind to help them connect their beautiful gifts to the rewards that they deserve.
Oh, that is so beautiful. And to sum it up, less is more in terms of information for 5-1.
Totally. Less is more.
It's
Actually,
not about, it's not about you giving too much information. This is funny because when I do my content audits for 5-1s, I'm always cutting this. I'm saying,
yeah.
It's a bit too much. But actually, there's so much goodness in it. So it's to just sum up, in terms of marketing for 5-1, step into that power, not looking for the answers from others to give you, but maybe sometimes tapping your inspiration into what they're coming to you with already, and just feeling if you feel the power, then you can create content in your marketing about this to attract more people that you can help in this. And while you're doing that and you're doing the research and everything, don't put too much into it. This is not why people come to you. It's for you.
Exactly. One point in the marketing. What happens with me is when it comes from my head, because I have a defined head anatomy, by the time it comes from my head to the page, it's gone. Do you find that at all, right?
So I don't find that, but my 5-1 client, particular person I have in mind, said the same thing to me.
Yeah. So record, or, just play with different ways that you find it comfortable. And also, like this, I love doing podcasts like this, because as a projector, it's really lovely to answer to the other person as if I'm having a conversation. Because when I market my message, people come to me for that, but their way. Do you know what I'm saying? So many marketers are out there going, do this, I did it this way and I made $1 gazillion. And it's so distracting. Such and such made $1 gazillion. I'm going to do that. And I'm kind of there, no, let's find your way, because the market is so volatile. Trying to copy, or as you said with Karen Curry, trying to copy or focus on someone else's way of doing it feels wrong, because it is wrong. It's not your way, right? It feels awkward because it is awkward. And as you said, with that information, with that 5-1, it's that inner confirmation. It's that inner, what I call common sense, when my insight and my instincts and my intuition are all on the same page. That's the information I need, because otherwise I hit walls. That's the unconscious one. That's what I love about it. I even have the 59-55 there, but that's where my rewards come from also, that inner information.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Anita, I know that you have a little gift for our audience. It's a call or something. Maybe you're the better person to talk about.
Totally. Literally what I've done is just very simply hop onto my website, www.anitakeen.com. And if you want to find out that one thing that might be impeding your prosperity, it's a simple 15-minute call. Hop on and we'll have a chat. And what I do is have a look at your design, where your prosperity blocks might be, and pick out your main one, that when you get that in balance, you actually start getting your money rolling again, And the funny thing is with the prosperity is it is about that inner alignment, because when you're quiet inside, it's not just money, you're magnetic for the client, you're magnetic for the opportunities you recognize. But it's just a simple call to say, hey, how are you? Just check in, because often what our block is not something that's wrong. This is why I love working with human design. It's not something that's wrong with us. It's not something that needs to be fixed. It's really something that needs to be got back in balance. That's all. And just recognize, like the car with the bumper signals, you get too close to the wall and it beeps. So knowing your inner beepers, your inner signals that say, oh, you're getting off balance, and knowing that that's what's going to impede your prosperity is really important. So that's what I'm offering. It's a very simple call.
That's perfect. The link I have, actually direct link here in the show notes. If you're watching this on YouTube, is going to be in the description. Guys, join the conversation. If you're 5'1", let us know. Let us know what are your challenges. Did this conversation resonate? What was your takeaway? My goal for the podcast here is to empower you and to let you know that it doesn't matter. Somebody said 5'1" is the most difficult profile to market. That means nothing. It's, that person shouldn't have said that, because everybody can struggle and everybody is designed in a perfect way for your human life to come to, find that balance that Anita was speaking today so much. Find that balance within you. Find yourself within this profile and design you have, and you will find the fulfillment and satisfaction and empowerment and have a wonderful business and wonderful life. And this is why I loved this conversation. Anita, thank you so much for being my wonderful guest. And guys, I will see you in another episode of Visibility by Design.